How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be continuing Sharks of Summer. Sharks of Summer is where once a week, at least once, during the summer, I talk about a shark movie. And today, we're returning to Wild Eye's Shark Attack 3-pack, and we're taking a look at Shark Exorcist. Shark Exorcist from 2015, written and directed by Donald Farmer, and stars Angela Kerecz, Bobby Kerecz, and Channing Dodson. In this movie, an evil nun will sacrifice someone in a lake, causing a local shark to become possessed. The shark bites a woman who's swimming, and she becomes possessed too, and she starts to lure people into the lake so that they can get killed and fed to the shark. And it's up to her best friend and a priest to stop her. Now, overall, I wasn't expecting much with this movie. If you look at the trailer, it points out how Jaws and The Exorcist came out within a few years of each other, and wouldn't it be funny if we combine the two? And yeah, I was expecting a cheesy, low-budget, parody movie of Jaws and The Exorcist. I didn't expect it to be great, but I expected it to be low-budget fun. But that is not what this movie is. There's one scene towards the ending where it tries to parody The Exorcist a little bit, but for the most part, this really isn't a parody movie. This really actually isn't much of a movie. This is really kind of a nothing burger of a movie, and I do want to say right off the bat that I'm not a comedy teardown channel. I try to give everything its own fair analysis, but the fact is, this is one of those just get it in the can movies. It's very, very low budget, and the whole idea is we need 70 minutes, just try to fill up the screen time. And that's going to result in a bunch of random things happening, the whole movie feeling disjointed, and not really having a good story. But hey, they filled up their 70 minutes. And if you look at like last year for Sharks of Summer, I talked about a movie, Apex Predators, very similar to this shark movie, where a bunch of random people happen to encounter the shark. There's way too many characters, and the movie's just kind of rambly. And last year I was a little more forgiving. You see, movies are really hard to make. Like, a low-budget movie is $5 million, and who has $5 million? And overall, if you are a young production crew, if you are a new filmmaker and you have to make a movie like this because that's as good as you can do with your resources, and if you have to make a few like this, yeah, I totally get it. It's worth going out there and trying to do something. But that's not exactly what this is, and the illusion is ruined with a quick trip to IMDb. The director, at the time he had made this, had about 30 directing credits, so he's not a young newcomer, and IMDb estimates the budget for this movie to be $300,000, which is not a significant budget, but it's way more than what this movie looks like it should be. This movie looks like a next to no budget movie, and why $300,000? That's not enough to make a fantastic movie. It's well more than this deserves. And I see with this movie that this isn't really young filmmakers just trying to make something. This is a factory movie. This is just, how can we make something that technically qualifies as a movie with as little time and effort as possible? And who cares about the actual product? You get a good title, you get a good poster, and people will buy it, and the actual movie is inconsequential. Well, for this movie, yeah. But the thing is, you do too many movies like this, and you ruin the reputation of direct-to-video. You ruin the reputation of indie movies, you know? And of course you're going to make a ton of them because they're easy to make, and these type of movies have been problems, and you know, it's why I like to look at movies' trailers before I buy anything I see direct-to-video, because, you know, I don't mind a low-budget movie if you're trying, but if you're a factory film, I don't want to watch that. You're just a collection of 70 minutes worth of random footage. You're not an actual movie. And I know I sound like I'm going pretty hard. I need to make a whole video on this, just describing this type of movie and the damage it's doing to the direct-to-video circuit. But yeah, that's basically what it is. And talk about the movie a little more specifically. There is basically just a bunch of random people getting killed and a bunch of scenes that have nothing to do with anything. The biggest example of a scene that has nothing to do with anything, there's a graveyard scene where characters are doing a seance. We've never met these people before, and they never appear afterwards. And it's not even clear what they're doing. I think there's a ghost or something. Some lady in white starts thrashing around, and then one of them dies, and the scene's over. Never seen these characters before, never seen since. What do they have to do with anything? Nothing. It just, hey, it's spiritual, fits in with the movie, I guess. Put it in, and we'll get that much closer to 70 minutes. There's another scene with some sorority girls. They're not lured to the lake by the lady that's supposed to be doing this. It's a hazing ritual, which, you know, you think would never happen because they literally know that people are actively getting killed in this lake, and the ritual is, haha, go in the lake where people are dying right now. But then again, it's a sorority, so maybe that would happen, I don't know. But again, never seen these characters before, never see them since. It's just random filler. But at least the random filler is better when something's actually happening. There's several scenes where nothing's happening. Like, there's this guy, the scene, a jogger discovers a dead body. Okay, right? That, you know, it moves the story forward. The jogger, you show him jogging for like, I think 5 minutes or something. You needed like 2 shots of this guy jogging. Would have been more than enough to show you what was going on. The whole 5 minutes of jogging is just filling the runtime. It has nothing to do with anything. So yeah, that's pretty bad. The most egregious example of just filling the runtime, though, is this mid-credit scene. There's a mid-credit scene where a random girl, never introduced before, is walking around an aquarium and looking at the shark toys in the gift shop. And then it randomly has a very mild jump scare at the end. Again, never seen this lady before, nothing to do with anything. 8 minutes or so walking around the gift shop doing nothing. It is such an egregious just fill up the time maneuver. It's very, very bad. But I suppose this is a shark movie. I should actually say something about the shark. The shark is a fairly decent CGI model, which leads me to believe it was probably an asset that they had purchased, and they colored it red, and they put glowing eyes on it. And it swims in its 3D void. It's like got a blue void around it, you know, the water, and it does not interact with any of the people it's supposed to be killing. Basically, the shark swims around in the void. He starts to swim towards the camera in a threatening manner, and then the people in the water have to thrash, regardless of if there's actually enough space in the shallow water to fit the shark. The people just start thrashing, and then they die. There's no interaction, there's no creativity in the kills. It's just, they're swimming, cuts of the shark, and then they thrash and they're dead. And the thing with that is, not only is it a disappointing kill, not only does it not sell it great, it's the same thing over and over again for each of these kills, and this movie is primarily murder vignettes. Murder vignettes got popularized in the Friday the 13th series, where you want a few more kills, introduce characters that have nothing to do with anything, and have them get killed really quick. Now, the thing with Friday the 13th is they put a little more work into these mini-stories, but also the kills are so much better and creative. So it's like, okay, that had nothing to do with anything, but Jason just did this sick kill, I can forgive it. But when it's all leading to the same kill over and over again, And when it's not just a few vignettes thrown in here and there, it's most of the movie. That is not how you do murder vignettes. So yeah, the kills aren't great either. I think to analyze this movie further, I'm going to dive into the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to analyze the movie. So we open up that scene I talked about. There's a nun wandering around a graveyard, and we hear on the news how this nun is evil. I think she like tortured and killed 13 people or something. And a woman recognizes her, goes up and yells at her. I don't know how she knows it's that specific nun, but also this nun is known for being evil, and you're just going to confront her yourself and not call the police? Well, this lady, of course, gets killed. The nun kills her, throws her in the river, or lake rather, and sacrifices her, and that causes an evil spirit to possess a local shark. Now, we cut to 1 year later. Why is it 1 year later? I don't know. Apparently that's how long it takes to possess a shark. A group of young adults, these girls, are in a car going to the lake, and they start to talk. Apparently one of them thought they were going to a water park for some reason, and is upset by it. It's a really weird thing, and I should mention the acting in this movie. The acting is basically slightly emotive line reading. It's across the board not great, but a lot of the times the characters just don't act like normal humans, and the car scene is the first we really see of that, and yeah, it's gonna be there. There's this drama where one of them thinks their boyfriend is having an affair, and the thing is we don't see the boyfriend until way later on in the movie. It's literally almost at the climax, and you don't really get to know it's him because there's no audio in that scene. But anyway, some drama with the affair, whatever, we're gonna go rest by the lake. One of the girls decides to go swimming where the shark bites her, and she washes ashore. Now, a lot of people have made fun of the shark bite because it looks like ketchup, and it does, but more than that, it's incredibly small. Like, we never see the shark in relation to any of the people because the whole don't interact with the CGI element thing, but the bite looks like it's smaller than a football. Like, sharks are supposed to be big. I mean, I know there are some little sharks. Wouldn't that be a funny joke in this movie if the shark is only like this big? But anyway, she gets bitten, so they take her to the hospital, and this hospital scene is pretty telling as to how the movie's made. None of the actresses are there doing anything, and the only way that this connects to the plot is the ADR of the speaker talking about the girl. And you can see that this is a real hospital that they just snuck a camera into. Like, no one in there knows they're in a movie, which I think is kind of funny and a little bit charming. There's actually, like, no sets built for this movie. It's just taking the camera out and just shooting stuff and hoping you're not bugging anybody. And that's a little charming, and you do also get to see a very real view of the world because of this. Yeah, you almost feel like the cameraman's a character just because you can totally feel him standing there the way this thing is shot. I don't know. But anyway, the girl gets better. It's 3 weeks later, she doesn't have even a scar, but she's more emotionally distant, and she's strangely drawn to water. You don't get a good sense of the characters, so you're just told this. But yeah, she's starting to be distant, and unbeknownst to her friends, she is luring people to the lake, or at least to water. She's luring people to the lake, and they're going to get eaten. And yeah, it is pretty much randos. You know, some lady just happens to be swimming, I'll go in there, swim with you. Shark. There's one scene I do have to mention, it's pretty awkward. There's a lady playing on the playground with 2 shark toys, and she's acting very juvenile, but it's unclear, like, is this grown woman supposed to be playing a kid, or does she have some sort of mental handicap? We don't know, it's never fully explained, but the lady shows up, the possessed one, and starts to try to seduce her, so yeah, this scene gets kind of awkward. But anyway, when she gets someone, she takes him to water, and then she'll kind of disappear, and the shark will get edited into the footage. It's so vague, I'm not sure if she's supposed to be turning into the shark, or if she's just summoning the shark. The way it's shot, it looks like she's turning into the shark, but there's times where the shark kills people at the lake where she never invited them, so I don't know how the shark got there if she has to turn into it, so I think she just summons it unless she hangs out in the lake as a shark. I don't know. Later on in the movie, she'll grow shark teeth apropos of nothing, and then, use them in one scene and that'll be pretty much it. So I don't know if it's a transformation or if she's summoning it. They don't have the budget to do a transformation, so we couldn't see that even if that's what they wanted it to be. But anyway, she's killing a bunch of random people and maybe turning into a shark, and one of the random people she kills is the brother of this priest, which is a fun excuse to use the same actor in two different roles, so I thought that was a little fun. The priest goes and tells her friend, and they're gonna go confront the person at an amusement park with a scene that's like 5-10 minutes of just wandering around the amusement park first, but whatever. Outside of your main characters, the most notable B-plot is this red-headed lady who is doing a TV show, Ghost Whackers. And Ghost Whackers, they're going to the lake, they're trying to channel the evil spirit, which results in long scenes of her thrashing about on the ground. There's also a lady who doesn't believe in the paranormal and is trying to discredit Ghost Whackers. Now, a few things with this. The red-headed lady is kind of hamming it up a little bit. I don't know if that's because she's playing a TV personality, or if that's because the actress knows she's in a movie called Shark Exorcist. Whatever, it's a little campy. And also, they shot her scenes on a windy day, and her hair keeps blowing into her eyes. But there's also a major mistake with this with this part. There's a cameraman filming her, right? So we see a lot of footage through his camera, but it's not all found footage, so there is some of the outside camera, our camera that we use most of the movie, that's not supposed to exist in world. But every now and then, the actress will see her and her cameraman in the shot, and then she'll turn to our camera, which isn't supposed to exist, and talk to our camera. So she's talking to us when the cameraman she's supposed to be talking to is like back here. And it's just a case of bad direction. The director didn't tell her, don't talk to this camera, it's not real, But anyway, we get quite a few shots with the Ghost Whackers lady. It's a clear B plot, but it doesn't amount to anything either. The Ghost Whackers lady actually never meets our main characters. It's definitely where they shot the initial stuff. It was way too short, and they decided to make a B plot. And if it actually had something, then maybe we didn't need as many of those randos, but this plot runs out of steam pretty quick and goes nowhere, and she's a big enough character you expect her to do something, but like I said, she never meets the main characters. Anyway, you look at a movie like this, you expect it to be goofy, you expect it to be cheesy fun, and there is some stuff, oh, I can't believe this movie's that low quality. But it's not a cheesy, so bad it's good movie too much. I mean, there are some moments where it's unbelievably bad, but it's not really that silly, So yeah, it's a pretty bad movie. I wish it was cheesier and campier, but it really just is, hey, can we gather 70 minutes of footage? Can we do that? And it's a not great factory film, and I was hoping for a Jaws and The Exorcist mashup parody. I was expecting cheesy fun, and like I said, this movie's basically nothing. It's almost not a movie. It's kind of marvelous to see how low a production grade you can get, but it's not great. And unless you want to just marvel at stuff like that, I would avoid this movie. I can't really recommend it. Anyway, this is Sharks of Summer, so I will get to more shark movies pretty soon. But if you want to see me talk about more shark movies now, I'll put a playlist on the bottom. I've covered quite a few, and I will be getting to more as the summer drags on. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. If you want to see more, relevant playlist on the bottom, Shark Movies playlist. Have a good day now.